Hey guys, I was here for Azafi's YouTube live stream on my YouTube channel. Azafi's YouTube channel here. Let me know you can hear me on this wireless mic. I have to hold it for I know to order a new wireless mic of Amazon so you can clip on my shirt. Because the clip part broke. I was trying to set it up here so I know you can hear it in the right chat here on YouTube. Here on my YouTube channel. So right now into what I'm gonna watch in a minute here. The kold News 13 2022 Monsoon Special Fact or Fiction 2022 here with the first year weather team from kold. Here, before I do that, I'm gonna give you some announcements here and stuff. So yeah. So before I do that, please make sure to share this live stream, share my YouTube videos, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, give me a like, turn the notification bell on, and stuff like that. So now we're going to get to announcements here. I'm going to show some events here on my Facebook page here. If you guys leave me some comments, I can get to it right now until I get back to my watching on this phone here, on my second phone here. So I'll get to your comments. I've done the announcements here. Try and get to Facebook here so I can tell you announcements on some event schedule here. So give me a second here. Trying to find it here, give me a second. Trying to find it, you guys, give me a second. Okay, found it. Okay. So usually there's no live stream on the weekends because you go spend time with your family and stuff. And it's a day off for me too. I should tell you, just for today is a special thing for you guys because the makeup for yesterday and stuff because usually post big a Zoom movie day for you guys. So the possibility today I might start to Zoom movies and my Sonic with you guys. I'm not sure I'll keep you guys out there on my Facebook page. So please follow me on Miles Condo's Facebook page for the update for that. And updates on our events and stuff on my Facebook page. Or add me as a friend on there too for more updates on my Facebook page. Or follow me on there for more updates regarding these events and stuff. So tomorrow will be as normal. There'll be no live streams and stuff tomorrow until Monday or the following week and stuff. Okay? So, until I have free time this coming week and so, because the following week, that's when the event schedule kicks into gear. Okay? So you want to see the rest of the event schedule, some event schedule for the weather June and July is on my Miles Condo's Facebook page. So yeah. So right now we're going to get started with the kold News 13 Monsoon Special 2022 Fact or Fiction Special on my YouTube channel. Here. I'm getting ready right now before I turn the camera on. Here. So give me a second. So when I'm getting away, you guys can chit chat, hang out in the live chat here. Where's you guys? Well, I'm trying to get this going. Okay, now I'm ready. Okay. So now I'm going to turn the camera on. No. And when you guys can hear it in the live chat too. With the volume.
This is a KOLD News 13 First Alert presentation. Monsoon 2022. Fact or fiction? Sponsored by these local businesses.
Feast or famine? Drought or deluge? Fact or fiction? Monsoon 2021 rewrote the record books.
After a bone-dry 2020, we got twice the typical monsoon rainfall, including the wettest month ever in Tucson. Now the window is opening again for sudden, violent summer storms and all that comes with them.
Drenching downpours and flash flooding, destructive wind and blowing dust, deadly lightning. Our desert cannot survive without the rain, but what you don't know about the monsoon can hurt you.
Over the next half hour, the First Alert Weather Team will separate the truth from the tall tales to help you stay safe and prepared for Monsoon 2022. Fact or fiction?
Hello, and thanks for joining us. First things first, what is the monsoon? Contrary to popular belief, it is not an individual storm. It is an entire season. And those of us in the southwestern portion of North America, we are impacted by what's known as the North American monsoon. And the season begins on the 15th of June and it runs through the 30th of September. And this season is marked by a 180-degree swing of prevailing winds. It's when the wind flows from east to west. Generally speaking, weather moves from west to east across the U.S., except in this part of the year and this part of the country. And it's that shift of winds that is the transportation system to bring in some of that deep moisture from the Gulf of Mexico up through the Sierra Madre mountain range and into southern Arizona. So why do we have a monsoon? Well, it's a really large-scale pattern change that begins in June. The subtropical high pressure in June usually hangs out over northern Mexico, but it starts to shift its way closer to the Four Corners area. That shift with the clockwise flow around that center of pressure scoops up some of the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, that really soupy air that starts to develop in July, and transports it through the high terrain of northern Mexico and into southern Arizona. In conjunction, we usually have a few tropical systems that also push some moisture up through the Gulf of California, across the Baja Peninsula, and kind of join forces with that moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. So by July, that high is well established here over the Four Corners area, and we continue to get this flow of moisture that helps to bring on lifting air and those thunderstorms that tend to develop all the way through August and into September until that pattern starts to subside.
In the middle of a decade-long regional drought. Another fact, for the first time ever, the state is seeing cuts in the amount of Colorado River water it gets through the Central Arizona Project Canal. Cities like Tucson are spared in the first phase of cuts, which fall mainly on agriculture. But as Bud Foster shows us, farmers who were already short on water could now lose everything.
Isn't this gorgeous?
145 acres of bright green alfalfa set against the desert in Pinal County on the Kaywood Farms. A stark difference from when we visited here a year ago. It was a dry year last year, so the yields were pretty small.
Last year, we should have gotten 8 to 10 cuttings of alfalfa, and we only got 2.
Again, caught up to the San Carlos Reservoir, which supplies the Kaywood Farm, as it has now for years on end.
At that time, you thought, oh, we're just low on rainfall this year. Next year will be better. And then the next year, then the next year, and here it is, almost 30 years later.
They stopped growing cotton a few years back on the farm that they've owned for 92 years because they didn't get enough water to irrigate it, which means during cutbacks, like is happening to the Colorado River now, Pinal County farmers, like the K-Woods, are the first to feel the effects.
But it can be up to 70%. That's what we've been told.
You can lose 70%?
We can lose up to 70% of our CAP water.
The farmers and water managers are in uncharted waters, as they like to say, because the drought and the water shortages are creeping up faster than anyone predicted.
We keep pretty much every year or every 2 years realizing that what we've been doing is not enough and that we have to do more.
And that more, at least right now, is landing squarely on the shoulders of the agricultural community in Pinal County, forcing some hard choices.
We don't want to sell this because it's been in our family for so long and the land is paid for, you know, and our whole livelihood is out here, you know, and there's a lot of history on this farm, a lot of love on this farm. We just don't want to give it up if we can avoid it.
And with competition for water now fierce in Pinal County between new growth and old agricultural interests, the question becomes, who's on the bottom when it comes to water use and demands? Which means for the farmers in the area, it's not just Mother Nature they battle now. As never before, there's a new player in town.
We're up against the folks who don't want us here. They just don't think agriculture belongs here.
And that may be the toughest opponent of all.
Lightning, probably the most spectacular part of the monsoon and one of the most dangerous. Arizona averages more than 500,000 lightning strikes each year. Most of those occur during monsoon. It's important to know how to stay safe when the summer storms move in, but some lightning safety suggestions you've heard are less than accurate.
Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Well, Park Ranger Roy Sullivan wishes that were true. He unfortunately has the dubious distinction of being the person who's been struck by lightning ever on record than anyone else, 7 times as a matter of fact. We also know that tall buildings like the Sears Tower, also known as Willis Tower in Chicago, has been struck over 250 times. So this one is definitely fiction. Lightning can strike the same place twice, and has. So here's another one for you that is also fiction. You should take shelter under a tree if you're outdoors in the middle of a storm with lightning. Not at all the case. In fact, we know that lightning is attracted to tall objects. Thunder, that does mean you're close enough to be struck by lightning. A lot of people think if you're in a storm car that it's super hot. Not the case. Rubber tires into the ground. So what you want to do is take shelter in your car if you can during a storm, but you want to be careful not to lean on the doors or touch anything that's metal.
Do not enter when flooded. Turn around, don't drown. No matter how many times we see it or say it, the message does not get through to everyone. Each monsoon, drivers get stuck in these flooded roads and washes and have to be rescued. And sometimes the results are tragic. So let's take a look at some common misconceptions drivers may have.
When people pass those barricades or drive through the water, they're putting themselves at risk and they're putting our first responders at risk.
We saw it time after time after time. Monsoon 2021 brought a surge in swift water rescues.
Those are high resource demand for our folks and very dangerous for the public.
But the water doesn't have to be up to your door handles to pose a threat. Driving into even shallow water can be dangerous. You simply do not know if the submerged pavement is still intact. Quickly, washing away cars and people they even. And it doesn't have to be a wash. It's
this individual family, his little ones, that was a pretty harrowing event.
Arizona does have what's known as a stupid motorist law. It says if you have to be rescued after knowingly going around flood signs or barriers, you can be hit with a bill. But since the law went into effect more than 20 years ago, it's only been used a handful of times, and we can't find any record of someone actually paying the bill. One reason, first responders don't want to discourage people from making a potentially life-saving calls for help.
I don't want people to say, oh man, I'm in trouble now, I don't want to call the cops. Call 911, come and help.
Remember, it is never safe to drive into a flooded roadway. Use an alternate route or simply wait for the water to recede. Waiting an hour could be the difference between life and death.
If you're new to Arizona, you might be laughing at the fact of a swiftwater rescue. And if you've been here a while, you might be saying that could never happen to you. But regardless, monsoon is no laughing matter. In fact, take a look at this area and this situation of a swiftwater rescue that happened exactly a year ago in this very same spot. You're looking at a swiftwater rescue at Camino de la Tierra. Water nearly covered the car windows.
They accidentally do get in the water, especially some of these nighttime things where it starts raining at night. They go to work or they go wherever, and the next thing you know, they're driving over a hump and they end up in the water.
Fire crews say the water was too deep and moving too fast for them to reach the car on foot. A ladder was used to extend a life vest and rescue ring to the woman. She and her dog were then pulled to safety. Now, a situation like that was only successful through swiftwater rescue training like this. Tucson Fire says they're preparing through swiftwater rescue training in case it happens again.
And our primary means of reaching a victim is by the use of an aerial ladder truck. Secondary, we have our ropes that we can try to reach the victims with ropes and have them assist in something dangerous as sending one of our rescuers to the water.
If you find yourself in a situation like this, Tucson Fire says call 911 right away.
The biggest thing is to stay with your car as long as you can. The car will float for a little bit, about 2 to 3 miles, but if you stay with your car, it's easier for us to reach you.
Another tip, follow directions.
If you have your phone with you, many times we can use your phone to track you, which helps us find you quicker.
And you can avoid a situation like this from happening altogether by simply not driving through standing water. When in doubt, turn around, don't drown.
Can ants predict the weather? We clear up some myths about monsoons' creepy crawlies.
You're watching Monsoon 2022, Fact or Fiction.
Flooding.
Flash of moving water can carry away a 15 to 20. Monsoon is a big deal for animals in the desert. There's even a persistent belief that ants can tell when the rain is coming by building their hills higher when the wet weather is on the way. But can ants really predict the weather? And what's the story on the huge black beetles that come out during the monsoon? And why on the rainiest summer nights frogs just
Ants, termites, green fig beetles, giant mesquite bugs, tarantulas, millipedes, pallid root borer beetles.
The Southwest is home to the highest insect diversity in the nation.
When monsoon season hits, that's when things just go.
He's setting the course to monsoon.
Can ants predict monsoon season? No. Ants usually are very active during rainy seasons because their nests and their tunnels get filled with water, and then they're very active trying to deal with that. There's a whole myth about them predicting rain, and that's not true.
How about those black beetles? We saw those bugs out in big numbers last summer, and that was no coincidence.
More rain equals more bugs, more plants, more animals in general because, in the desert, water's life.
So yes, there is a direct correlation with how